All right, so here we go. We're going to go back into, we're resuming our talk on various myths that there are in the WordPress world and with regard to finding clients and all of those types of things. Our last one was like, when I talk to WordPress developers, what's one of the main things that people say? And one of the main things they say is, I need more clients. And that's probably the number one thing that people say when we get on the phone and talk. And so last week we talked about, well, is it really true? Do you really need more clients? And if so, how many? And how is all that going to play out as you run your business? How many clients is enough? Those are the kinds of things that we talked about last time. And if that's the number one thing, then the number two thing is, where do I find the clients? Like, how do I get the clients? Like, where are they? And the reason that this is kind of like this myth is because there seems to be this impression that there's like this magical land of ideal clients, or there's some sort of a club that you can join and find the ideal clients, and that's where they all are. And so people expect me to say something like, well, if you just went to, and then say something they've never heard of before, and that's really the key that's going to unlock the door to this magical room of wonderful people to work with. And so, is that really the truth? Is that really the case? And of course, the answer is really no. That's not really the answer to how to find or where to find better clients. And so that's why that's the myth that I wanted to kind of debunk today in today's talk. So if you're interested in attracting more clients, or where to find more clients, or any of those types of things, if you want to get more clients for your business, and that's something you want to talk about, then you can talk with me specifically. We can get on the phone and talk about it. If you go over to doublestack.net/call, you're going to see my personal calendar, and you can pick a time that works for you. That'll get you on my calendar, and I'll give you a call, and we'll talk exactly about how to implement all the stuff we're talking about right now into your business with the kind of clients that you want to work with, building the kind of sites that you know how to build. So if that sounds good to you, that's what we'll do. But today, right now, let's talk about the general idea of the fact that there seems to be this impression in people's minds that when they get on the phone, that I'm going to say something that's this groundbreaking, revolutionary, nobody's ever heard it before place to go to find clients. And that's not the case. Nobody's going to do that for you. And here's the thing. It's kind of like when you want to go get if you're going on a date, or you're trying to find a date, or you're trying to find, or you have a friend, like a single friend that is just, frustrated, can't find anybody good to go out with. They're wallowing around in self-pity because they just can't find a good date. There's even a Seinfeld. I used to watch a ton of Seinfeld. There's even a Seinfeld about this, where the character George is just completely at the end of his line. In fact, he says he's hopeless, and it's really funny. He's like, I'm hopeless. That's my only hope. And but anyway, so George, is telling his friend Jerry and all this stuff about how he just can't find anybody. And then Elaine, she also has a friend that she's talking to in the same situation. They end up matchmaking or whatever. But the point is, there's this kind of in the world of single people, it seems there oftentimes is this perception that all the good people to go out on dates with, they're somewhere else. They're all like they all go to a special club or a special restaurant or whatever. When of course the reality is everybody's just walking around right amongst everybody else. There's no special thing. And so it is also with clients. There's no special country club to join, or business networking group to join, or there's no special email list or phone call or any of those types of things. There's no special thing that holds all the clients, and you're kind of blocked out of that. And instead, the issue is it's much more, how do you connect with the clients that are walking around right in front of you, as opposed to where to actually find them. And it kind of goes back to the dating thing. And one way to explain the problem is to think back, so suppose you want to go out on a date with somebody. Everyone tends to, well, almost everyone, not everybody, but most people tend to know that when you show up on a date, that you don't just go around talking about how awesome you are and how much money you make and how great your job is and how everybody wants to be more like you. And you don't just go around doing that for the entire date, because that's going to turn off the other person. That the other person is going to think, oh, this guy is a complete putz, and that's going to repel what otherwise might be a very nice date. So and we kind of all sort of intuitively know that. Anybody that has any sense of social graces or whatever understands that you don't just go out and talk about yourself all the time and all the great things that you know how to do and all the great accomplishments that you've ever had, and that instead there's more dialogue that goes on. There's this back and forth. There's this learning. And the bottom line is, especially like on a first date or when you're first meeting like a business client, the similarity is nobody cares about you in that sense. Like I don't mean to say that they devalue you, but what I do mean to say is that like when you go out on a first date, it's not charity for you. It's not, they're not caring about you at that point. And instead, you know, what's going through everybody's minds, both people are wondering, well, is this other person going to meet the criteria that I have in mind for my ideal spouse or whatever that might be? And the pursuit of uncovering those answers is really what the first date and subsequent dates are all about. And so if somebody comes to the table and you start having, you know, your dinner together and all they're doing is boasting about themselves, that's usually a pretty big turnoff for the other person. Now, that doesn't mean that you can ever say anything ever about yourself, but what it really means is that the relationship is this kind of interactive thing. And so you begin to explore what kinds of things are interesting to the other person, and you begin to ask questions, and you begin to kind of dig into, you know, the other person's history and like the types of things that they like to do and where they like to go, and people that you know in common. You know, there's various things that you begin to uncover, and in the process of doing that, you develop what they call a relationship. Everybody wants a relationship, right? And so that's the kind of thing that wins dates. It's also the kind of things that wins clients. So as we all kind of intuitively know that you don't just show up on a first date and boast about all your skills, here's the thing. We just throw that out the window when it comes to what you do with a business relationship. So you go to like a business networking event, or you are interacting with any potential client that you might have come across in any way. Almost all of the time, people just jump straight into what would otherwise be that really annoying first date where the person is just complimenting themselves all the time. In fact, look at your own website. Like if you're a WordPress developer, take a look at your website and see if you're the annoying first date. Like, are you just listing all the skills that you have and all the wonderful things that you can do and all the awards that you've ever won and all those things? Or are you trying to invite people into your life and to actually get to know somebody? And that's a really big question, because in the same way that, you know, boasting about your job and how much money you make and all the other things that's going to turn off a first date, you know, boasting about that kind of stuff tends to turn off business relationships as well. And it's not really for the same reason, but it's the same end result. So for example, you know, when people go to a website that lists all the great things that you can do, you don't generally think, oh, well, they're a jerk. But what you do think is, they're not talking to me. They're not resonating with the kinds of concerns that I have, and therefore they're probably not the right fit. That's kind of the idea of what goes wrong with these business relationships. So it's not that you go up to like a business networking meeting, or, you know, meet somebody and you start talking about business and you kind of hunker down on the stuff that you know how to do. You know, maybe you come across as a jerk, maybe you don't. But the overall point is, you're not connecting with the other person. There's no real relationship building. You're not discovering the stuff that they're struggling with or that they need help with. And it's a very one-sided, one-way kind of a thing. And that is what the problem is. So when I talk to folks about these issues, and I'm asked, you know, so what is it that I need to do in order to find new clients? Like, where are the better clients? How do I hit the jackpot that unleashes all these, you know, this flow of wonderful clients? Well, the answer generally isn't to go do something different, or go to a different location, or go to a different type of meeting. That's usually not where the answer lies, because there's just, you know, how many different ways are there to actually meet people? That's not really the thing. There's no magical way to meet people. We're all just walking around doing our thing. The difference is, how do you interact with the people that you do meet? And in the same way that a first date could go awesome by establishing that relationship, by having a really great, you know, dinner together and hanging out and talking until the wee hours of the morning, whatever, in the same way that can go really well, you can also make that exact same experience go very poorly if you show up on the date in a bizarre way, like in a way that's very self-centered and very egotistical and things like that. You can wreck the whole date when it's the same people, right? It's the same person on the other side of the table. It could go good, it could go bad, and a large portion of the outcome is dependent upon how the interaction takes place. So the same is true with business clients. Like a large percentage of the outcome of that interaction has to do with how you interact with the client. So what are you able to do that distinguishes you from what everyone else is doing? Like so for example, if somebody goes to your website, why is going to your website different from going to somebody else's website? Or if you're on Fiverr or something like that, or you feel like you're competing with the folks on Upwork, or you're competing against losing projects to just lower paying consultants in general, or losing projects to like Wix or Squarespace, or less expensive alternatives even outside of the realm of WordPress. If you're worried about losing clients to those types of things, then one of the first questions to ask yourself is, what are you doing that's different from those things with regard to how you interact with your clients, with regard to how what it is that you deliver, like what's the outcome of working with you? Is there a difference there? Or is it the case that you're doing the exact same thing that they're doing, you're just charging more? And that's really what the problem is. So that's the thing that needs to be uncovered. That's the rough spot that we need to kind of smooth out. And instead of just saying things like, I know how to, I answer the phone when you call, or we're in the same time zone, or we can meet face to face, or I really try hard, or I really care about your business. Instead of these very soft kind of intangible answers, wouldn't it be better if like a legitimate relationship was established, where you begin to kind of dig into some of the core issues that the people that you're talking to have? And so that's a skill. That's a skill that you have to develop. It's something that you need to be trained to do if it doesn't come naturally. And that's the kind of thing that we can talk through on the phone. So like if this is something that you struggle with and you want to talk about it, how to do it, how to get more help with it, then that's what we can talk about. So like in the context of the types of clients you work with, in the context of where you live and who you interact with, if you're struggling with that kind of thing, well, just give me a call and we'll sort it out together. And so, and again, if you missed the beginning, you can find me at doublestack.net/call, and you'll see my schedule. Pick a time that works for you. Then you'll see a little form with a couple questions on it that you can fill out with a link to your website, and you can put in some information about who you normally work with and what kind of struggles you are having or whatever, so that I can, before we get on the call, I can check things out and learn about you, so that when we get on the call, it'll be about 45 minutes, and we can talk through this stuff. Like, how can you develop that skill that enables you to like connect on a deeper way with the clients that are already out there? And when you harness that skill, the thing that's so beneficial about it is you don't have to find some kind of brand new way to find a brand new group of people, and instead you'll start winning the clients that are just coming across your path already. And of course, in the process of the conversation, if you're not getting any leads whatsoever, we can talk about that. That's a different issue. That's kind of more along the lines of what we talked about in the last session, and the first myth about how many clients do you need, or do you need more clients? But in order to actually get the clients, that's what we're talking about today. And so, the real encouragement here is to really hone that skill that enables you to develop an interpersonal relationship in the same, it's not exactly the same, but in a similar way to the way that you might go out on a date and you start interacting with the person on the other side of the table in a way that is interesting, that you have curiosity and there's concern and caring, and all the things that you might think about with regard to developing like a personal relationship. A very, very similar approach works great for developing business relationships, and really ultimately that's probably what you're after anyway. Like almost everybody that I talk to are really nice people that genuinely do care and really do want to help people. It's very rare that I talk to someone who's just interested in, spinning up websites and getting paid or whatever. And that, most of the time the people really genuinely want to do better, do good work for people. And so let's talk about what you can do with the kinds of clients that you work with and the price points that you want to hit and the revenue and the income goals that you have for yourself this year. Let's get on the phone and talk about how you can hit those income goals with the target audience, with the right pricing for that audience, and how you can start tapping into recurring revenue right away. So if you're really struggling to hit these things and to get the clients and to get the projects and to grow your business, then this is one of those fundamental critical skills that we really need to focus on developing, that even goes beyond like your actual WordPress skills, because those kind of come second. Like you can be the best WordPress developer there ever was, but if you aren't getting the clients and you're not connecting with people, it doesn't matter, because you're not building any sites for anybody. So So let's get on the phone and talk about how to hone that skill and do those types of things. So if that sounds like something you want to do, get over to doublestack.net/call. That's where you'll find me, and we can talk about that stuff. So that's pretty much it for today. It's a little bit shorter than normal, but yeah, so we'll be talking about this stuff again. Let's see, today's Tuesday. We'll do another one of these at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Hey, look, it's Matt. I have my camera up higher. So it's good to see you, Matt. And looking forward to talking to you guys. So yeah, head over to doublestack.net/call if you want to book a call with me. I'd love to talk to you, love to get to know you, see more stuff about what you're doing, and help you out with developing these skills. So it's a free call, about 45 minutes, and I really look forward to talking to you guys. So take care and see you soon. And if you have any questions or want to leave any comments about what we're talking about here today, you can go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the week. And until then, well, until Thursday, that's when I'll see you again. So schedule a call if you want to talk, and see you again on Thursday. Thanks, guys.